Well, hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Buttercupp at Home. We have the amazing pleasure of having Brick and Mortar Mobile Fashion Boutique on our podcast. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So people that don't know you, take a moment, introduce yourselves, and then we have so many questions.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm Lauren Corwin. I'm part owner with my sister.
Hello, I'm Haley Walker. So yeah, we're sisters, and this will be our 5th year in business in July. Awesome. So yeah, and then really how we started, I mean, it goes back ways back.
Haley was in college.
Yep.
Okay.
So this was about 2016, I would say, 2015, 2016. And we knew we wanted to do business together. Like ever since we were 12 years old, we were handing out flyers, and we had this little business called In Good Hands, where we would like help people in their yards and with their animals and everything. So we've,
Awesome.
I feel like we've been entrepreneurs
Yeah.
our entire lives.
Yeah, Haley was really bad. She would find golf balls on a golf course and then resell them
On the golf course, yeah.
That's
We've always been entrepreneurs.
Total entrepreneur.
Yeah,
That's so
always
good.
doing
So
something.
good.
So yeah, I think when I was in college and she was at Von Maur as a buyer there after she graduated college, we're 4 years different. She's 4 years older than I am. And then we just were kind of deciding what, and we both knew we loved fashion. She already had the buyer experience, and it kind of blossomed from there. But we didn't figure out the mobile boutique part until I saw a mobile boutique in Peoria when I was in college there. And it was the milk truck type thing, and we have the trailer, but I saw it and it definitely sparked interest. And I think that's when I called you, and I was like, I think I have an idea.
Yes, yeah. And her name's Shay at the Runaway Rack. So
Okay.
she's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yes.
So Haley saw her and we're like, that's a really cool concept.
Yeah, I was like, you own a truck already. We could go with the trailer route and just completely renovate it and get it wrapped. And because we've heard some negatives about the milk trucks,
like the box.
Yeah. Well, then it's like if it breaks down, that's like everything. But a trailer, you don't have to worry about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. We've heard horror stories about people breaking down, and then, they can't do anything really. So
the fashion piece, you were at Von Maur. How long were you at Von Maur?
I was at Von Maur for 5 years. I did buying and for men's underwear, so really exciting.
Did you go to college to do that kind of stuff?
I wanted to, but my dad's like, go to college for business, so I actually went for finance. And then
that has served you well.
Yeah, I was like, let's do fashion, and he's like, I don't know if that's gonna, I don't know. And anyway, I ended up applying at Von Maur, getting an executive training program, and then being in North Park for a couple months working. Then I was a buyer for men's underwear, loungewear, and socks. And then I was a buyer for men's shirts and ties, which at the time that business was a little rough. So I ended up going into college recruiting. So I was looking for all the buyers for Von Maur. So this has honestly been a mix of all of that.
Yeah.
And then,
It's amazing how that happened. Like Jennifer and I think about that with our business and businesses that we've had in the past, how life just trains you for the next thing. And then you're just like, pulled this in and it adds to this. And when you're an entrepreneur, one of the questions I have for you guys with being entrepreneurs so you were just looking to find something that you could do as a business, but it wasn't necessarily it didn't really probably matter what it was. It was just looking. So unpack that, because we're wired the same way.
Haley was working at a website development company right after college in Geneseo, and she's like, I love what I'm doing, but I want to start something. And I was like, Haley, I totally get it, but I'm at a very secure job right now, so I'm kind of scared. And she's like, you know what?
Mine was like right out of college, very, very entry level. I had no benefits. It was just a very small company, and I loved it. But I was like doing social media and SEO and website development for like foundation repair companies. And so I was blogging for them, doing all this stuff. I'm like, it's nice, but I would rather be blogging about our own business.
So what was it like coming up with a blog post for a foundation repair company?
Brutal. It was a lot of research because I knew nothing about that industry. And it was everything from even like that. I had Adolph's Mexican restaurant as one of my clients. So it was like foundation repair, then like a Mexican restaurant. It was all over the board.
And they're like, did you just use the words pink and beautiful in a foundation repair blog post?
Right? Yes.
How did you do that? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I had to get very creative. But that's when
that's hilarious.
wheels started turning. We were like, all right, we need some more flexibility. We knew we wanted to dip our feet into some type of
Yeah.
So did you start it as kind of a side hustle first?
No,
you
Haley
just jumped
quit her
all in.
job, and then I was scared to quit my job, and she's like, "I quit. You have to quit.
Yep.
You have to quit." So then
And
I did.
we had it planned. I mean,
Yeah.
while we were working, we were like behind the scenes grinding. So it was probably a year. Well,
Yeah.
probably about a
It
year
was.
before we quit because I worked, there for like a full year. And then I quit a month before we launched the business. And then Lauren was like scared.
For
Yeah.
like 2 weeks.
2
before, I
weeks. And she
think.
held off. And I was like, Lauren, you have to quit. I quit. Like, you can have cold feet now.
Yeah, but our first event was the Bix weekend.
Oh my
So
goodness.
we
Oh,
worked
awesome.
from noon to midnight for 2 to 3 days.
Oh my
and
gosh.
we did very well. And we're like, maybe we can do this.
Yeah, and probably
So-
just like it scratch that itch of just
Yes.
wanting to do your own thing.
Yes, for
There's
sure.
something really like kind of magical about that first event because I know for us, ours was tiny. It was just a little event at Rescued in Moline. She invited us to come be there for the weekend, and I was like, "Oh, okay," And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I called them when we were done. I was like, "People like us. They actually liked our candles.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna go okay."
I love that.
There's just something like really, I don't like seeing people interact with your product and stuff that you're like, "Oh, I think this will be okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you have, the great thing about your guys' company that I love is one, just the way you interact with the community. You guys are just genuine as all. As the day is long, and that's what Jennifer and I just love about you guys, and so that's just that connection that you make in the community with people. And when you're starting your own business, it's like that is like the secret sauce, really of people fall in love with you as a business owner, and then that risk, you realize that just because you're working somewhere else, it's just as risky because you don't know what's going to happen with that business in and of itself. And with the finance background, I'm sure all those pieces just made it, okay, hey, I know how to budget. I know how to make sure that we're fiscally responsible and all those pieces. So what was that journey like for you of just that, okay, I need to really jump? What led you up to that point with your background and everything?
I think I was feeling like a little bit stuck. And then just wanting to, Haley obviously pressuring me every single second of every single day. I was like,
had to
okay,
give her that push.
we can
That's
do
right.
it. We can do it. So I think it was just at the beginning, trying to figure out our budgets, but then obviously making a ton of mistakes in the beginning.
Always. We always do. It never stops. But you learn from them, right?
Yeah, so that was a little rough. And then we just kept going to colleges the very first couple months we opened.
Brilliant.
And the colleges were amazing. And we're going to get back at that. We just kind of focus on some of our big events right now. But
And COVID definitely
hurt that.
changed, our business model a little bit with that. Because, we used to go to colleges
Like every week.
Yeah, every single week. And then I don't think we've been to a college now in a while, but we're trying to pick that back up because that was
Yeah.
a
Well,
big part.
and part of your business model too is to give back, right? So tell us about how that kind of played in, or why you decided to do that.
Yeah, so we just decided that right up front. And one of our friends who owns a boutique, she's like, don't do that. Why do you need to do that? And we're like, we just want to. Like,
Yeah.
it's just part of like what we want to do and like how we want to grow our business and all of that. So when we were initially starting, I was like, let's call it like Love Your Sister. And it's like a philanthropy thing. And we give back to all this, like all the sororities have their own philanthropies and will donate every time they shop with us. So we were going to focus on that. And then I was like, dreaming one night or writing things down as I sleep, and I'm like, Haley, maybe we should call it Brick and Motor instead,
Yeah, and we're like,
and not
instead of
keep it
just-
so
specific.
college centric.
It gives you flexibility.
Right.
Yeah, so we're like, we can focus more on like the local organizations and like collab more with, like the local nonprofits and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
Well,
we
yeah, and
changed
then
our-
with the way COVID ended up going, that was probably a
Oh,
huge, like,
yes.
able to pivot. So.
yes,
totally.
So
Yeah.
when we first started and we were going to all the colleges, we created this big board and it was like a picture board. It said shop for a cause. So we always say that's like our business model, shopping for a cause, because you're always supporting something else.
I
Nice.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So then tell us now kind of about your new pivot that you've kind of gone into an actual brick and mortar. So what was that path like?
Yeah, so we were wanting a little bit more space. We wanted a room for maybe to start a podcast. You guys are really,
Awesome.
you're really
Yes.
Inspiring
influencing us. So we wanted real fitting rooms because our initial fitting rooms were literally made out of like a grill cover that we
We were
put
very
fabric around.
DIY people.
We are
So, like,
DIY.
and like it would hang up, like the grill cover.
It's just like a canopy.
I'm so curious.
Or it's like a metal frame
Yeah.
that we just
Okay.
put fabric on.
And so we just kind of like lined
Awesome.
the sides.
That
but
works.
it worked. we were like, all right, we're growing. We need to step
We
things
wanted,
up.
Totally,
a
yeah.
bigger space. Like a real checkout area, like fitting rooms, just things that most boutiques have
Yeah,
early on.
In 4 years of business.
Yeah, but our mobile boutique is honestly our bread and butter, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our store is just to like talk with all of our friends, bring in the locals that want to just try things on and chat and hang out. So it's kind of a hangout.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So when COVID hit, so that obviously was going right into the busy season when that all came. So walk us through that journey and how did you guys move a lot of stuff online? What was
Yeah.
that experience like?
Yeah.
So that May was our best month ever online.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
Our
awesome.
online sales were, the best they've ever been. And then that quickly changed, though. I feel like everyone was really like support small,
Totally,
and
yep.
so that was amazing. And then it started, falling off, kind of back to
With
normal.
same trend.
Yep, same trend. Yep, which was expected, I guess. But then we had to close down our storefront for at least I think it was 3 to 4 months that they required us to have the storefront closed. And also just because it was such a small space, so they're like, if you have 3 people in there, it's
Yeah, and so
max.
for anyone that doesn't know, Rock Island has a really cool program. What is it? Remind me what it's called.
It's like the Rock Island Economic Growth incubator.
Yes,
shops.
incubator.
Oh,
That was the
right,
word I was
right,
looking
right.
for. And so you were actually in one of those. And it's
Yes.
just, there's like, 4 shops in there
Yes,
maybe?
yep.
Yeah, and they're just little tiny.
So tiny,
And it's
yep.
amazing, though, that they let you kind of like dip your toe in the water and
Yes.
see, do I want to do this? And there's been a couple of really cool businesses that have come out of that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, so you had your mobile 1st and then there.
Yes,
Yes, it was-
They messaged us on Instagram. We're like, "Hey, do you guys want a spot for the winter because you can't really work when it's freezing and snowy?" And we're
Yeah.
like, "Sure."
Yeah, it was
so
super
good.
affordable rent there, so they
Yeah.
make it really like super flexible, and it was just supposed to be a 3-month
Lease.
3-month lease, and then it did really well there. So we're like, can we extend this? And then we ended up keeping it for like
Forever.
3 years.
Yeah, that's
And you're
great.
supposed to grow out eventually, but they've helped us a lot.
You just
transition
grew out of
Yes,
it.
we just grew
I know.
out.
I love the new space too. It's so great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
down
you.
there.
But I think that that's an important point too for if there's somebody that has a business that they think, oh, well, you're not legit until you have an actual storefront. And for you guys to start small.
Such a crazy thought.
Well-
Why people think like that? Yeah.
I know.
feel like it's so backwards
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
Well, but I think that that's amazing that you gave it that much time because I think sometimes it's like, oh, we had a really good weekend. You know what? We're going for it. We probably need a bigger space. You know what I mean? But to really sit on it and to watch the trends and watch traffic and really
Yeah.
learn about it and then make that leap, you were able to probably make a really educated,
Yeah.
plan.
Yes, we never wanted to get in over our heads with like anything, even though our minds are always like, yeah, let's start this and let's
Right.
do that. But we were like, we need
Yeah.
to keep it
That's-
very steady. And
I'm curious about that comment right there because, like, for us, we have you have calculated risk. Obviously, there's a difference between risk and calculated risk. And then with ideas, like I always have 50 million ideas, but then you run them through like the sanity filter is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
You're just like, and then usually on the back end, that idea becomes like either nothing or it's something very small or it's something that you pause or wait on. So
Yes.
for you guys, when you were starting and having different ideas, how have you pivoted and flexed and added new things into your business? And how do you guys filter those ideas?
Yeah, so with our bigger storefront, we were like, let's get some other women-owned small businesses in here to sell, and then we'll just charge them like a little bit of rent each month. And so that has helped us just broaden our assortment because we don't carry like boys' baby clothes
Yeah.
and candles and some other little things that we're like, oh, it's just nice to have like some maybe like we have a little vintage section and we have a little section where she does like puzzles that she makes herself, so you can get them customizable. So it's really cool.
yeah, we were like, with all this space, we were like, we were going to have to drop so much money on new inventory and all this stuff.
Yep.
So I feel like, just running that past each other and like
Yeah.
different ideas.
But it's been successful.
Yes.
It has. That
Yes,
was my next
yes,
question.
it's been
Yeah.
good.
It helps to offset your rent
Right.
and all those pieces. I mean, that's just That's great.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful
how many
idea.
other vendors do you have in there?
4.
Okay. And they all have something different that you guys don't have.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is
and we're
nice.
always buying from them too. So like, we have like a slow weekend where like I just dropped $100 on that baby vendor over there.
It's really nice for like holidays though too, because for Easter I was like,
is,
Mackenzie's Easter basket's done.
Yeah.
Like,
Awesome.
grab. Like,
See, I didn't even realize you had that in there, so that's awesome.
yeah. We
At our-
just started that March. So.
We had this great idea to have like little snacks for people at our Moline spot to eat. It's actually a horrible idea. Nobody bought anything. Nobody bought the snacks except for us.
Yeah,
so
we ate them all.
We bought all of them. We're like, that was pointless. You know, like we're paying retail costs for all this stuff.
We
Yeah,
did the
yeah.
exact same thing with candy. So one of
Yeah.
our vendors had this it was supposed to be like a healthier gummy, all these different kinds of gummy candies. And we're like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. We got them in. They were not that good. And we ate
all of them.
All of them. And I was like, we're never doing candy again. Like,
Yeah, that was us.
You learned some things the hard way.
yeah.
Yeah. So talk through for people that haven't been in your store, like what's your demographic, like age group predominantly that shops? Not that we're pigeonholing you into any certain age group, but predominant demographic. Then also what you guys carry.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. So we always say like our age demographic is like really young because we have little girls' clothes to like
Our grandma's age.
our grandma's 97. Yeah, 97. So she
awesome.
shops with us too. So we're like,
But-
oh, we cater to everyone. But
Yes.
technically that's like not a smart business idea.
Yeah.
We're always listening to podcasts and they're like, if you're advertising to everyone, you're reaching no one.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
exactly.
that's
Exactly.
true,
That's
yes.
that's where this question is
Yes,
coming. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So I
Yeah.
feel like our store is like more either like younger to middle-aged women mostly coming in and shopping, and it kind of depends on where we go. Also, the mobile boutique
Yeah.
with that part, it was hard in the beginning. We're still learning, but we would go to a college where it'd be like 18, 20-year-olds, and then we would go to a market where it was like mostly 15, 16-year-olds. So our demographic would change with almost every event. But with our storefront, I would say we mostly see, pretty much the same demographic coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have college girls from Augie and Ambrose coming in all
Yeah.
the time, but then we have like moms
like our mom's
and-
friends and younger moms.
Everybody
shopping.
can find something.
Yeah, exactly.
and gifts too. So
Yeah. So do you guys curate the clothes based on the show you're going to?
we do.
Okay. So how do you
Yeah.
make those decisions?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
We have to invest like a lot of money
Yeah.
like the month before and like create a whole collection. And then we have to hope that all of the markets go really well.
Yeah.
So we're not
And-
stuck with anything specific to
Yeah,
that.
but you do like a lot of new merchandise with our markets
Yep.
because a lot of our existing customers will come to see stuff at market and they want new stuff, obviously.
Right, exactly.
So it's it's a lot. Like
It's
we're
like
doing
that-
it right now.
Yeah, So
Yes.
it's really. Are you guys deep into that whole fast fashion thing? It's like we need to turn this as fast as we can, or how does that work with?
We
Your
turn
business
it
model.
too fast sometimes
Yeah.
because
That's great. Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook doesn't like that because then things are up on the website and then deleted sometimes like that same week. And so we're trying to focus on
a little more on like longevity of which we do have. I feel like we're focusing on like majority of our products can last for a while, but then we still have those very fast fashion pieces that we're like, get in, this might not be trendy
Yep.
in a few weeks, so let's try and sell
Yeah.
it as fast as we
Right.
can.
Yeah.
Well, so, and one thing that I was wondering, we talked about this briefly when you came in, that having a mobile boutique is kind of a trend. And, if you've been around for a little bit, like we have, and you've gone to markets, for a while, handmade signs, those were everywhere. Like
Yeah.
there was like 15 handmade sign vendors at every show. And now those have kind of gone away. And so you'll see those trends kind of come and go. And so one trend that I've noticed is, like I said, you were the first mobile boutique that I had ever heard of. And then now I feel like there's like 100 of them at
Yeah.
every show.
Yeah, we went
So
to an
how-
event a couple weeks ago where 3/4 of the vendors were
Really?
fashion.
We have
Wow.
two shows that we go to that are like that.
Oh, wow.
And it just blows us away. And partially, I think that's why we tend to do really well at those shows because they're like close. Oh, something different. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely.
But how have you guys kind of risen above that trend and stayed on? Because now some of those are starting to fall away. So like
Right.
what has given your business that longevity to stay through that?
Haley's very creative, and we design all of our own like T-shirts for the farmers
Okay.
market, and those are all
Awesome.
super cute. And so we are designing right now like 10 new T-shirts for the farmers market starting
great.
May 6th, 5th.
So that's something unique that they can only get with you.
Right.
Yes. So
Okay.
we've tried to put like more displays because I know it's kind of intimidating sometimes going into mobile boutiques. So I feel like we've focused on more of like our outside display that will lead people in. So if they see it's something that's eye catching, like, oh, that's hilarious, or that's my size, that means I can go in and I can find other products that I'll like. And then also we always try and change up like the vibe of the trailer. We have a back wall that we started with palm leaves all over the back, and we put clothes before bros in like bright pink letters, and that was like killer. And then we changed it to like a greenery wall one year, and we focused it on like our giving back aspect. I think it said like small business, big heart. And now we're back to clothes before bros because the
Awesome.
people requested it.
That's great.
But now
though.
it's a big like bright purple checkered wall. So I feel like that also helps kind of keeping it fresh. So when
Yeah.
people come in, like
They
oh,
wanna
it's
see what's new.
different. Yeah.
So, what are the lanes that you guys listen to the market, like the feedback from your customers and stuff? Because that right there's a huge point that we're always like. That's why we love the farmers market so much because your ear is always to the ground. You're listening to what the market's asking you, and saying, okay, hey, you need to bring this sign back because we love this sign. So that's a connecting point with
Yes.
people. How do you guys do that with clothes?
We do a lot of Instagram story polls,
Oh,
and people
nice.
love that. We get like hundreds of thousands of comments. Sometimes they're just like, "Oh, I like this one. I hate that. That's
They
super
love
ugly. That's
giving
really
their
cute."
opinion.
Yeah, so
We're here for it.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
love that. So that helps us buy. So that's
Yeah.
been very successful.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what was it like for you guys as kids, like on the entrepreneur spirit? Because you have so much energy. And so it's just like, I love it. I just love it. You do too. But it's just like,
We get
you
that a
as
lot.
kid, you're like, I have 50 million golf balls to go
yeah.
sell. It's just like,
Tell them. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
so what was that like? I mean, when you guys were talking about,
Did you kind of like swindle your family? Because I had a brother like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was like
I was
selling
probably
things
the swindler.
and doing
I was probably the swindler. yeah.
Yeah.
She was the older one, so I feel like
the rule follower.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Reeler in.
Yep, always.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to this week's episode with Brick and Mortar. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, so it cut a little bit short. So we still wanted to put the podcast out so you could enjoy the great conversation that we did have.
And so if you'd like more information, definitely check out their website, brickandmortarboutique.com. You can find their location in Rock Island, the markets that they have coming up, and of course their hours. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see you next week.